researchers have found that the blue Muddauber hunts one spider more than any other, the black widow, a spider whose venom is often described as up to 15 times more potent than a rattlesnake's, drop for drop. A bite can cause excruciating pain, violent muscle cramps, and symptoms severe enough to put children, older adults, and even healthy adults in the hospital, though deaths are extremely rare today thanks to modern medical care. In some nests, black widows make up almost the entire pantry inside. That mud tube on your wall you were about to scrape off? It could be packed with black widows, the wasps dragged out of the hidden corners of your home. Picture this. You walk out onto your porch on a Saturday morning, coffee in hand, and you see that strange, crusty-looking mess you've been meaning to get rid of. It's a small structure made of mud, tubular and rough, about the size of your thumb. Or maybe it's a whole cluster of them that looks like a strange, handmade pipe organ pressed against the siding, your garage wall, or the underside of your roof. It looks like a mess, like something that simply doesn't belong in a clean home. And your first instinct is probably to reach for a scraper or a spatula to remove it once and for all. But I'm asking you to stop right there, because what is tucked inside that mud nest is one of the most extraordinary things happening on your property right now. And what might happen if you destroy it is something you may deeply regret. Today, here at Backyard Guardians, we are going to open that nest together. We are going to look at exactly what is inside, who built it, and why it's there, in ways that I promise will genuinely surprise you. By the time we're finished, I think you will understand why some of the most knowledgeable gardeners and naturalists in the entire country have made a very deliberate decision to leave these structures exactly where they are. To understand the solution, we first have to understand the architect. The mud nest on your wall was built by a Muddauber, a solitary wasp belonging to several species in the families Sphecidae and Crabronidae. You might recognize the blue Muddauber, the black and yellow variety, or the organ pipe Muddauber, as these are the most commonly encountered neighbors across North America. They have colonized almost every habitat where humans build structures, from our houses and barns to the undersides of bridges. Now, the first thing to understand about Muddaubers, and this is the thing that surprises almost everyone, is that they are nothing like the wasps you are probably afraid of. We've all had run-ins with yellowjackets that are naturally aggressive, or paper wasps that will sting if you even get near their nest. Hornets are famous for defending their colonies with genuine ferocity, and those are the wasps that have earned the reputation most people apply to the whole family. But the Muddauber is a different creature entirely. She is solitary, meaning she builds alone, hunts alone, and raises her young alone. Because she is on her own, she has no colony to defend, no queen to protect, and no social structure that triggers that collective aggression we see in other wasps. She is, by the standards of the wasp world, extraordinarily peaceful. Entomologists who spend their lives studying Muddaubers consistently report that provoking one into stinging requires a deliberate and sustained effort on your part. While they can sting, they rarely do. You could stand directly beside an active Muddauber nest and watch her work all afternoon without any realistic risk of being stung. She is focused entirely on her task, and her task has absolutely nothing to do with you. So, what exactly is that task? This is where the chronicle becomes truly extraordinary. You see, the Muddauber doesn't actually live in the nest she builds. She builds it entirely for her offspring, children she will never even meet. The nest is a nursery, a pantry, and a sealed vault, all wrapped into one small tube of hand-formed clay. To understand what she is packing inside those tubes, we have to follow her out on a hunt. The Muddauber is a specialist. She is a spider hunter. This is her biological purpose and the ecological role she has filled since humans existed. She seeks out spiders, small ones and sometimes remarkably big ones, and she delivers a precisely targeted sting to their nervous system. But it isn't a killing sting, it is a paralyzing one. The spider does not die. It remains alive but immobile, suspended in a kind of enforced stillness where its metabolic processes continue and its tissues stay fresh for weeks. The Muddauber then carries the paralyzed spider back to the mud nest, pushes it inside the tube, and flies right back out to hunt again. She does this repeatedly, packing spider after spider into the chamber, each one alive and perfectly preserved until the tube is full. Then, she lays a single egg on top of the very last spider, seals the chamber with a plug of fresh mud, and moves on to build the next tube. When that egg hatches, the larva finds itself in a sealed room with a living pantry. It feeds on those spiders one by one, from the freshest to the oldest, each one kept perfect by the wasp's venom. By the time the larva has consumed everything in the chamber, it is ready to transform inside its mud cell and emerge weeks later as a fully formed adult wasp. It chews through the mud seal and flies out into the world, continuing a cycle that has been happening in structures exactly like yours for eons. Now stop. Before we go any further, I need you to think about something. You have a sealed tube on your wall, hand-packed with living spiders. And I haven't yet told you which spider she prefers above all others. Because when you hear this, it is going to completely change how you see that mud nest forever. Researchers studying Muddauber prey have found something absolutely remarkable. While they will take a variety of spiders, the blue Muddauber, Chalibion californicum, shows a strong and documented preference for black widow spiders. In studies conducted across multiple states, black widows were found to make up a significant portion of the prey stored in blue Muddauber nests, with some nests containing almost exclusively black widow specimens. Let that really settle for a moment. The structure on your wall that you were planning to scrape away, the one that looked like a mud stain or an eyesore, may be actively stocked with the one spider that represents a genuine medical risk to you and your family. The Muddauber is not just a passive presence on your porch. She is performing targeted pest control on the species you most need controlled, and she's doing it in the exact locations where black widows love to live: wall crevices, garage corners, and dark undersides of structures. No chemical spray reaches those hidden spaces as reliably as she does. No trap you can buy at the store hunts as precisely as she does. She doesn't just kill spiders, she removes them entirely from your environment, one by one, and stores them somewhere else. If you have ever found a black widow in your garage and felt that particular cold dread, understand that the Muddauber on your wall may be the very reason you aren't finding more of them. So, what should you actually do about that mud nest on your wall? The answer depends on just one thing. Is the nest active or abandoned? An active nest will have a wasp coming and going with visible purpose. You might see her arriving with a fresh ball of mud or carrying a paralyzed spider. If the nest is active, please leave it completely alone. She will finish her work within a single season, seal that last tube, and move on. She won't return to the same nest, she won't expand it indefinitely, and she will build somewhere else next year. An abandoned nest, dry, sealed, no movement, can simply be left as it is. Those empty tubes actually provide overwintering habitat for other beneficial insects, so leaving them costs you nothing. If the location genuinely bothers you for aesthetic reasons, you can carefully remove it after the season ends, in late autumn or winter, once you are certain no larvae remain inside. And if you do open one out of curiosity, prepare yourself. Out fall the spiders. Dozens of them in some cases, perfectly preserved, dried and mummified by time, their bodies still in the exact position they were in when the venom hit them. Sometimes small brown ones, sometimes large orb weavers, and sometimes those unmistakable black widows, red markings still vivid. It is a sealed archive of your local spider population, collected by an insect with a precision no human survey could ever replicate. Fascinating, and for some, deeply unsettling. But what you should never do is destroy an active nest. Not because the Muddauber will retaliate, but because you would be ending a process that benefits your property, environment, and garden directly. You would be eliminating a hunter that is doing work you simply cannot do yourself. The mud nest on your wall is not a problem to be scrubbed away. It is a solution. A small, hand-built, mud-sealed solution to a spider problem you may not have even known you had. I encourage you to leave it there and watch her work if you get the chance. Next time you see someone reaching for a scraper near one of these Muddauber nests, I hope you'll tell them exactly what is happening inside. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a Muddauber nest on your porch? Or perhaps opened an old one and discovered the pantry inside? Tell me your stories in the comments below. I read every single one, and sharing these observations is exactly what this platform was built for. If you love life, respect the mystery, and want to understand what happens in your gardens and properties when no one is watching, you're in the right place. And if you want to learn or know about another master builder, one that constructs its home not from mud, but from something more surprising, that video is already waiting for you right here. Thanks for watching, and keep listening to what your surroundings and gardens are trying to tell you.